Hello everyone. We are now talking about professional salesmanship. The term salesmanship is mainly used for the sales of goods at a personal level. However, it should not be confused with personal selling. Selling a product to someone requires skills. It is not the kind of job that everyone can do. Salesmanship is a skill used by a salesperson in personal selling. Salesperson is an art of face-to-face communication between a seller and a buyer, where the seller uses his persuasion skills to encourage the buyer to make the final purchasing decision. Selling activity involved in products or services in return for money or other compensation. It is an act of completion of a commercial activity. The deal is closed, means the customer has consented to the proposed product or service by making full or partial payment. Sale is completed by the seller, the owner of the goods. It starts with consent or agreement to an acquisition of appropriation or request, followed by the passing of title or property ownership in the item, and the application and the settlement of a price. The obligation for which arises due to the seller's requirement to pass ownership. Being a price, the seller is happy to part with ownership of or any claim upon the item. The seller that, to be precise, the sale completes prior to the payments and give rise to the obligation of payment. If the seller completes the first two above stages, the consent and passing ownership of the sale prior to settlement of the price, the sale is still valid and give rise to an obligation to pay. Sales management trends to transactions, individual sales volume management, to relationship, individual teams, sales productivity, leadership, and marketing. Marketing and sales are very different, but have the same goal. Marketing improves the selling environment and plays a very important role in sales. The marketing department generates a potential customers list. It can be beneficial for sales. The marketing department goal is to increase the number of interactions between potential customers and the sales team using promotional techniques such as advertising, sales promotion, publicity, and public relations, creating new sales channels, or creating new products, among other things. In most large corporations, the marketing department is structured in a similar fashion to the sales department, and the managers of these teams must coordinate efforts in order to drive profits and business success. For example, an inbound focus campaign seeks to drive more customers through the door, giving the sales department a better chance of selling their product to the consumer. A good marketing program would address any potential downsides as well. The sales department goal would be to improve the interaction between the customers and the sales facility or mechanism, example, website, and or the salesperson. Sales management would break down the selling process and interaction between processes. For example, in many outbound sales environments, the typical process is outbound calling, a sales pitch, handling objections, opportunity identifications, and the close. Each stage of the progress has sales-related issues, skills, and training needs, as well as marketing solutions to improve each discrete step, as well as the whole process. One further common complication of marketing involves the inability to measure results for a great deal of marketing initiatives. In essence, many marketing and advertising executives often lose sight of the objective of sales, revenue, and profit as they focused on establishing a creative program without concern for the top of bottom lines. Shots is a fundamental pitfall of marketing for marketing's sake. Many companies find it challenging to get marketing and sales on the same page. Both departments are different in natures, but handle very similar concepts and have to work together for sales to be successful. Building a good relationship between the two that encourages communication can be the key to success even in a down economy. Some sales authors and consultants claim that an expertly planned and executed marketing strategy may negate the need for outside sales entirely. They suggest that effectively bringing more customers through the door and enticing them to contact you. Sales organizations can dramatically improve their results, efficiency, profitability, and allow salespeople to provide a drastically higher level of customer service and satisfaction, instead of spending the majority of their working hours searching for someone to sell to. While this theory is present in a few marketing consulting companies, the practical and realistic applications of this principle has not been widely proven in the market, and sales forces worldwide continue to be responsible for developing business as well as closing it. Some marketing consulting firms postulate that each selling opportunity at each enterprise lies on an continuum of numbers of people involved, necessary degree of face-to-face interaction, overhead, and throughput time. To name a few dimensions, the number of people involved in actual face-to-face selling at, say, a clothing store is probably vastly different than at an online bookseller. Another area of conversation that has arisen in the need for enlightenment and integration between corporate sales and marketing functions. According to a report from the Chief Marketing Officer Council, and only 40% of companies have formal programs, system, or processes in place to align an integration between the two critical functions. Traditionally, these two functions, as referenced above, has been largely segmented and left in siloed areas of tactical responsibility. Internet application, commonly referred to as Sales 2.0 tools, have also increasingly been created to help align the goals and responsibilities of marketing and sales departments. To make effective sales, must have certain desirable attributes and drive, which is known as salesmanship. Basically, salesmanship is the knack of selling a product or service. Salesmanship is an important method of selling. It is a process of assisting and persuading a prospective buyer to buy a product in face-to-face situation. It involves direct and personal contact between the seller and his representative with the prospective buyer. It provides feedback and performs the complete job of selling. Salesmanship today covers a wide range of activities and constitute an integral part of management. It also offers wide scope for development in future. In fact, modern salesmanship is growing on scientific lines. Day by day, time is not far when a salesman will be in a position to dictate to the producer of goods and services what, when, and how much to produce for sale in the market. This lesson will help you to understand meaning of salesmanship, its feature, importance, and scope. Personal selling is a promotional method in which one party of a salesperson uses skills and techniques for building personal relationship with another party, those involved in a purchase decision, that results in both parties obtaining value. In most cases, the value for the salesperson is realized through the financial rewards of the sale, while the customer's value is realized from the benefits obtained by consuming the product. However, getting a customer to purchase a product is not always the objective of personal selling. For instance, selling may be used for the purpose of simply delivering information. Because selling involves personal contact, this promotional method often occurs through face-to-face meeting or via telephone conversation. Through newer technologies allow contact to make place over the internet, including using video conferencing or text messaging. The concept of personal selling is a part of product mix. It's personal presentation for the purpose of making sales and building relationship. Oral presentation, salesmanship, perceive and pursued buyers. The effort of salespeople go far beyond simply making transactions. They also include following: explaining product benefits, demonstrating the proper operation of the product, educating customers about the new product, answering questions and responding to the objections, organizing and implementing point of purchase promotion, arranging the terms of purchase, following up the purchase to ensure that customers are satisfied, developing the relationship with the buyers, collecting market and competitive information to improve marketing strategies. Personal selling is mostly used when the market is concentrated either geographically in a few industries or a few large customers. The product has a high and unit value, quite technical in nature, or requires demonstration. The product must be fitted to the individual customer needs, as in case of insurance or investments. The product is in the introductory stage of its life cycle. The organization does not have enough money for an adequate advertising. The future selling is more specific communication aimed at one or more persons, effective at buyers' preferences, convictions, and actions. Cost per person is high and is the most expensive promotion tool. Greater impact in the consumers provides immediate feedback. Allow the marketer to adjust message quickly to improve communications. Buyer feels a great need to listen and respond. Long-term commitment is needed to develop a sales force. Advantage of personal selling. Personal selling is a face-to-face activity. Customers therefore obtain a relatively high degree of personal attention. The sales message can be customized to meet the needs of the customers. The two-way nature of the sales process allows the sales team to respond directly and promptly to the customer's questions and concerns. Personal selling is a good way of getting across large amounts of technical or other complex productions information. Frequent meeting between the sales force and the customers provide an opportunity to build good long-term and relationship. are fundamental of successful personal selling. Sales people must have greater flexibility. You must tailor sales representatives to fit the needs and behavior of the individual customers. He must have the potential of explaining the product benefits, answer questions of his customer. He must be truthful. He must behave in a reliable manner. Must seek similarity of personality between you and the customers and the commodity interest and goals. Salesperson must see whether the person or his prospect customer has the potential to pay for the product or not. In selling situation, the message senders can adjust the message as they gain feedback from the message receivers. The interactive nature of personal selling also makes it the most effective promotional method for building relationship with customers, particularly in the business-to-business market. This is especially important for companies that either sell expensive products or sell lower cost but high volume products that rely heavily on customers making repeat purchases, because such purchases may take a considerable amount of time to complete and may involve the input of many people at the purchasing company. Finally, personal selling is the most practical promotional option of reaching customers who are not easily reached through other methods. The best example is in selling to the business market, where, compared to consumer market, advertising, public relationship, and sales promotions are often not well received. There are disadvantages of personal selling. Possibility, the biggest disadvantages of selling is the degree to which this promotional method is misunderstood. Most people have had some bad experiences with salespeople who they perceive were overly aggressive or even downright annoying. While there are certainly many salespeople who fall into this category, the truth is salespeople are most successful when they focus their efforts on satisfying customers over the long term and not focuses on their own selfish interest. A second disadvantage of personal selling is the high cost in maintaining this type of promotional effort. Costs incurred in personal selling include high cost per action. Since personal selling involves person-to-person contact, the money spent to support a sales staff can be steep. For instance, in some industries it costs well over $300 each time a salesperson contacts a potential customer. This cost is incurred whether a sale is made or not. These costs include compensation, example salary, commission, and bonus. Buying sales support materials, allowance for entertainment spending, office supplies, telecommunication, and much more, which has high cost for maintaining a sales force. Selling is often not a practical option for selling products that do not generate a large amount of revenue. Training cost. Most forms of personal selling require the sales staff to be extensively trained on product knowledge, industry information, and selling skills. For companies that requires their salespeople to attend formal training programs, the cost of training can be quite high and includes such expenses as travel, hotel, meals, and training equipment, while also paying the trainees salaries while they attend. A third disadvantage is that personal selling is not for everyone. Job turnover in sale is often much higher than other marketing positions. For companies that assign salespeople to handle certain customers groups, like geographic territory, turnover may leave a company without representation in a customer group for an extended period of time while the company recruits and trains a replacement. The objectives of personal selling is used to meet the 5 objectives of promotion in the following ways. Building product awareness. A common task of salespeople, especially when selling, in business market is to educate customers on how product offerings. But building awareness using personal sale is also important in consumer markets. Second is the creating interest. The fact that personal selling is involved person-to-person communication makes it a natural method for getting customers to experience a product for the first time. In fact, creating interest goes hand in hand with building product awareness, as sales professionals can often accomplish both objectives during the first encounter with a potential customer. Third is the providing information. When salespeople engage customers, a large part of the conversation focuses on product information. Marketing organizations provide their sales staff with large amounts of sales support, including brochures, research, reports, computers, programs, and many other forms of information material. The fourth is stimulating demand. By far, the most important objective of personal selling is to convince customers to make a purchase. Salespeople accomplish this when they offer detailed coverage of the selling process used to gain customer orders. And the last is reinforcing the brand. Most personal selling is intended to build long-term relationship with customers. A strong relationship can only be built over time and requires regular communication with a customer. There are scope of personal selling. In the business, there are two types of personal selling activities: inside selling and outside selling. Inside selling, it involves retail stores. In this group, we include the salesperson in the stores and the salesperson and the catalog retailer who take telephone orders. It also include our telephone order takers, manufacturer and wholesaler, most of whom take existing customers' routine order over the telephone. Outside selling, salespeople go to the consumer. They make contact by telephone or in person. Most outside sales force usually present producer of wholesalers, middlemen, selling to the business users and not to be household consumer. And outside selling, we also include producer whose representatives sell directly to the household consumers. To the representatives of retail organization who go to the consumer's house to demonstrate a product, give advice, or provide an estimate, such as salespeople of some furniture stores, home heating and air conditioning retailers. Representative of non-profitable organizations, charity fundraisers, workers, or political candidates. There are different types of salesmen, like order getters. The role most synonymous with selling in a position in which the salesperson is actively engaged in using their skills to obtain orders from customers. Such roles can be further divided into two: new business development and business equipment selling. A highly challenging yet potentially lucrative sales position is one where the main objective is to find new customers. Business equipment sales. The salespeople are often found in industries where a company's main profits came from the sale of supplies and services that come after an initial equipment purchase. In telemarketing selling, this category includes product sales over the phone, whether aimed at business or consumer, while in the US, laws restrict unsolicited phone selling. The practice is still widely used in the business market. Consumer selling. Certain companies are very aggressive in their use of salespeople to build new consumers' business. These include retailers selling certain high-priced consumer products including furniture, electronics and clothing, housing products including real estate, security service, building replacement products, and in-home product sellers including those selling door-to-door and products sold at home party events such as cosmetics, kitchenware, and decorative products. Account management is most people engaged in sales are not only involved in gaining the initial order, but work to build and maintain relationships with the clients that are intended to last a long time. Salespeople involved in account management are found across a broad range of industries. Their responsibilities involve all aspects of building customers' relationship from initial sale to follow-up account servicing. These include business-to-business selling. The salespeople sell product for business use with an emphasis of follow-up sales. Trade selling. Sales professionals working for consumers product companies normally do not sell to the final user. Instead, the role is focused on first getting distributors such as wholesalers and retailers. Order takers. Selling does not always require a salesperson use methods designed to encourage customers to make a purchase. In fact, the greatest number of people engaged in selling are not order gators. Rather, they are considered order takers. In this role, salespeople primarily assess customers with a purchase in ways that are much less assertive than our order getters. As might the expected compensation for order takers is generally lower than that of other getters among those serving as an order taker's roles are retailer clerks. While some retail salespeople are involved in new business selling, the vast majority of retail employees handle order taking tasks which range from directing customers to products to handling customers checkout. Industrial distributor clerks. Industrial purchase situations such as distributors of building products will also have clerks to handle customer purchase. Customer services. Order taking is also handled in non-face-to-face ways through customer service personnel. Usually this occurs via phone conversation, so newer technologies are allowing for this task to be handled through electronic means such as online chat. Order influencers. Some salespeople are not engaged in direct selling activities at all. That is, they do not sell directly to the person who is the ultimate purchaser for their product. Instead, these salespeople concentrate on selling activity that targets those who influence purchases made by the final customers. The primary example of an order influencer is the missionary salesperson. Sales support. A final group involved in selling mostly assessed with the selling activities of other sales professionals. These include technical specialists and office support. Place of personal salesmanship in the field of marketing. The distribution of any product or services, there are two coordinates and complementary sets of consideration. Those are advertising which aims to influence sales in the masses, and those of personal salesmanship which seek to influence the individual. It includes the selection of marketing channels, trade marking, packaging, pricing, discount, credits, and the many of other considerations which must be gone into the decided upon before the first salesman can be employed or the first piece of advertisement copy written. Personal salesmanship takes its place and has its seating in this broader field of marketing. Sales. Sale is a transaction in which a person pursued another to purchase something at an agreed price. From a business point of view, the sale should result in a profit of the seller. As practical matter, the salesman should keep the last two parts of this definition constantly in mind. He will want to gauge the effectiveness of this selling in terms of profit of his house. A practical matter also, it must be recognized that the mutual advantage may not always materialize. The price of sugar may go up or down and result in a loss either of the buyer or the seller. Essential of successful salesman. Element of persuasion. Personal selling is the art of winning the confidence of the customers and thereby convincing them to accept the proposal. A true powerful suggestion and tactful handling of situation that salesmen are able to make the people agree to the sales proposals. Element of creativity is the creative thinking of the salesman that arouses interest for the product. Element of education. Personal selling helps the customers to increase their satisfaction by educating them about the uses of new products and new uses of old products. Element of mutual benefits. The main aim of personal selling is not to make high profits. It is beneficial both to consumers and sellers. It not only increases the profit of the businessman but also provides full satisfaction to the consumers. Fair quality of good salesman. In order to become a successful salesman, a person should possess some qualities. These qualities may be knowledge about the products, knowledge about the customers, knowledge about the techniques of selling, personal qualities, personal mental qualities, and social qualities, character qualities of a good salesman. Knowledge about the customers. Salesmanship is the art of persuasion. In order to be successful, a salesman must have sufficient knowledge about the customers to whom he is going to sell. The knowledge about the selling techniques is all about knowledge is of no use unless salesman learns some techniques of selling and uses them. For a good salesman, no effort is overlost. A good salesman not only never repeats his sales blunders, but learns from them. A good observation is plus point. Learning from others' mistakes help prevent business skitters. A good salesman is not about never losing a sale. It's about learning from every lost sale and never letting history repeat itself in that arena. Another attribute of good salesman or quality, he must develop his working towards the attainment of particular goal or quota within delineated time. A good salesman never goes with an intention of selling all he can. There has to be specific objective of that attained. A good salesman before making his sales speech always tries to put himself in the customer's shoes. This provides a much better understanding of the customers.